Do, 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 do. Hello. Hang on, no. Let's do big cam. Let's do big cam. Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. Even though no one's here just yet, but that's absolutely a-okay. Here today, we're here to talk about the Pulse Friday, Fan First Friday that's going on, which is kind of good. I keep looking over here. So this is the first time again for a while since I've been able to stream, and it may be not the easiest to kind of do going forward for the next couple of weeks. So at least I wanted to get this done and dusted over the radar. So I'm also going to have to switch to the BRB. Hello, Thomas. How are you doing? Let me just go to BRB for a second. I'm still here. I just need to pull up one thing first so I can reply in the chat and also do stuff. So hopefully that's gone on there. I hope everyone's doing okay. Okay, let's just do YouTube. So I can see the chat because Streamlabs doesn't like it when I do this. So let's mute that. It's on the YouTube page. It's always on their YouTube page whenever they do something like this. But if you want the proper live reaction, then this is where we are, where we're going to be talking about it. But yeah, if you go to the Hasbro Pulse YouTube, it is there. That's normally how it all works. So yeah, looking forward to this one. I need to get the power brick actually. Have I got power? No, I've got power in there. Thomas is gone. I'm done. I'm gonna post that in. Thomas is like, I'm done. I've got the link. Don't want to watch you, Airlim. Like, hello, Orville. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's like, I'm done. I don't need to know. So yeah, we're just kind of waiting. So this is going to be fun. Welcome everyone. Hope everyone is doing okay. How is everyone doing? You do love Timmy, don't you, Orville? You do love Timmy. I think we should get you a Timmy shirt and just like I love Timmy. So yeah. So what is everyone looking forward to? Apparently this is just Megazords. So we're gonna do. Oh shiz! I need my headphones. Crap. Are they downstairs? They're downstairs. Right. I'll be back in a second. I just need to get my headphones so we can easily do this. Yes, YouTube is being a pain. It's one of those things where YouTube will always be a pain in the arse when it comes to certain things. So we've got about 5 minutes until the stream itself. And it's I think they're just talking about Megazords currently. Yeah, they're talking about Megazords. That's the main thing that they're doing for it. So we're going to see what happens. And I do love it on TikTok when people decide to just have a go, have a go for no reason, or think they're better. Never understand. So how is everyone? How is everyone doing currently at the moment? Is everyone having a good day? Have people been doing random things? So we're just kind of waiting. I think I've taken off my glasses now, so I can't see for anything. But if you're new here and you like this sort of content, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and also why not? Like and comment. We've got quite a lot coming up for the channel. We got a video per day. I might actually quickly change something in the settings. Or do we just leave it for? Yeah, we'll leave it for one. I'll leave it. Like I could have got an extra day, but nope. Okay, it's a bit better. I can see. I was trying to stream my reaction myself, and it won't connect to OBS. That's a bit weird. Like OBS is a bit weird when it comes to these sorts of things. So actually, no, I'm going to put that video back a day because we've got a live stream. So luckily, like all this doesn't matter. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to this potential live stream. What was the video coming out today? It was that one for the 10th. I'm going to schedule that one for the 11th now. Schedule. I'm going to schedule the rest so I can know roughly when it is. So I'm hoping that we've got some good stuff when it comes to the Zord Ascension project. I think that's the main thing. What people are going to see. I don't think anything new is going to come out of the Lightning Collection. Oh, then your computer froze. I hate it when computers freeze. It's like we really kind of really just. It's my face. 2 people watching right now. I always think it's one of those things where computers are a thing. So right, let's go look at Hasbro Pulse. Okay, this is the Fan First Friday. Is there any? Oh, there's no music. Okay, let's jump over to it now so we can see. Where are we? It's been a while since I've used this. So there we go. Look at that seamless transition. So we can see everything, and all the people waiting. 440 people waiting to see. There's also, I hope for a Timmy Megazord. You do love Timmy. I think maybe you should play Genshin Orville so you can hang out with Timmy all day. Okay, there is music, but you can't hear it. For some strange reason, they're really kind of playing the different ones. Like looking through the chat, like this is something that I always look for in the chat, so we can go back and look at it later on. It's anyone being a knob. That's basically what we're looking for. I'm wondering if someone turns around and goes, "Oh, Airlim is streaming this. Don't let Airlim stream this." Gene. I think it was Gene. R.I.P. Rancor. It's like they don't care. Like, I don't think. Oh, let's talk about it. Power Rangers fans don't care about no Rancor. Let's type in it. I want to be nice. Hey, everyone. Okay, Toka Chris. Damn, everyone's in here. Everyone's in here. Okay, so 44 seconds, and then I'll turn the sound on. Because again, do not want this copy struck whatsoever. It's actually quite a nice image, to be fair. I quite like what they've done. There we go, we get something. There we go, got everyone in the go. Everyone is no NFTs. I don't think we're gonna get any NFTs in this one. Okay, Orville, see you in the other stream. Okay.
Convoluted series of events. Like, we don't have time to go into it here, but like that's how I became the basis for the Colossus of Rhodes.
I generally thought that was like a leaked stuff.
Colossal.
Kinda.
Wow, and I thought I had a crazy spring break.
Jordan, it's December.
Something
December 10th, kind of.
Wait, the December 10th that we're all supposed to be hosting a FanFest Friday on?
Oh, is this a joke thing?
It's really December 1st, isn't it?
Oh, they
Right,
got
we're
Reddit clipped or?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, that's
kind
nice.
of.
Wait, I don't have a...
What?
Did it have-
Wait a second. You're not teenagers?
Look, give it away. Gray hair, creaking joints.
All that
general
sneaky
dislike
stuff.
of the youth.
Got the attitude, though.
Joe,
What have we got in the background?
what happened to your head?
Oh, this? I got a new webcam. But listen, we don't have a ton of time. I need somebody to actually host this
Can
thing.
anyone hear that? Like anyone who's watching
Is this the one
Orville,
about
if you're
the-
still
Nope,
here,
can't talk about
can
that
you
yet.
hear this? Actually,
What about the,
Come on, guys. No, not yet.
I don't even know what I was gonna say.
can we hear the stream?
I don't need to know. It's not that. Now, tell everyone about Zord Ascension project and Red Eclipse
Can we
Door.
hear?
Oh, Joe,
What, Sam?
you kind of left Red.
What have we got in the background?
What happened to your head?
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
we
all?
can do.
No problem. I got a new webcam. But listen, we don't have a ton of time.
Reddit.
You good?
Okay, cool. Reddit clip there.
Totally.
Right, neat.
Good. Make me proud, Rangers.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
I guess we should intro ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm Sam. I'm the lead brand writer on Power Rangers and some other brands around Hasbro. You may remember me from such PulseCons as PulseCon 2020
Everyone's like, oh my god.
and such Fan First Fridays as Is Sam
wonder
old
if
enough to
people are
play
gonna
with
complain
G.I.
to them
Joes,
all and be like,
which
oh
is
my God,
hilarious
so
because
why
I was
did
told
they
I was
release
too
one
old
of
for
their
Power
Rangers?
Rangers in 1993.
You're not salty about it at all, are you? Sam?
Not in any way.
Yeah. I'm Jarrett. I'm senior designer for brand creative for Power Rangers, Ghostbusters, and a few other brands. You may know me from such from such things as the HasLab Lab. They finally let me out of the basement, and now I'm here introducing some Power Ranger stuff.
Nice. And my name's Jordan. I'm a product designer on Power Rangers, and I work on all sorts of cool stuff, including Zords and Dino Fury stuff.
I love that
And I'm
people,
here
they have to
5% faster with no facial hair.
And then they did
Oh yeah, you should.
Yes.
Look at you.
I'm so cool right now.
Yeah, I bet. So, Red Eclipse Door.
Red Eclipse Door from Power Rangers in Space near the end of the season, right?
Right, at the
Okay.
beginning of the series finale, which was like a huge game changer.
Beginning of the end.
End of the Zordon era.
Yes. What a supremely memorable experience
I wonder
for
if
me
this
as a
is gonna
kid,
go
and I think
consistent,
many
so
people
we
on
can
the
get it.
team as well.
I was not a kid, but yes.
Many cool people back in the 90s.
Vast
So
Quebec. I
Red
have
Eclipse
no
Door
idea what
is
that
really cool because he,
Do I
even though he
plan
basically
somewhere?
only appears for one episode, he made such an impact on Baby Jordan because in that episode he destroys the Delta Megazord with one strike using this very sword, all new tooled for Red Eclipse Door. On top of the sword, he also has a new head sculpt and new arms, which really brings the kind of reborn evilness of him to life.
The redness to life.
Yes,
Yes.
the redness. Well, speaking of the redness, actually, so Loretta was lead designer on this figure, and I think one of the really cool and subtle things that she did with this was the way she handled that red, because he's not just molded a single solid red color, he's actually molded a deep dark red with some really neat light red highlights
he
in
looks
kind of an
really nice,
overspray
to
application.
be fair.
So what that does is actually naturally hits the highlights and brings out some shadow and contouring across the body, which I think kind of
why
just
is
adds
people
an
massively
extra layer
racist
of detail
in this?
and impressiveness to this figure.
Shout out to Loretta, because she's
Yeah,
awesome.
hyper mega shout out to Loretta and to
Yeah.
Corey for
Oh,
doing
so
a killer
there
and
we
very
go, he's got
fast
a black
turnaround
Dino Char-
on
a
this
Di-
sculpt.
a Dino Charge Ranger.
When
Dino
can we
Fury.
get this?
John told me to tell everybody that you can order this at your favorite collector retailer or on Hasbro Pulse at spring 2022.
Your choice here. Okay,
I think
I'll give them
that's
that.
it for the
That's
Lightning
quick.
Collection. It's Zappin' time.
It's
It's
that
time!
I love this project.
Yeah, me too. It's been a total blast and an honor as a fan to get to work on this.
Yeah.
1000%. I'm a huge robot fan, and working
Get
on
away
these
from them, bro.
projects with the whole
Don't
team
care
here
about
has
that. I really
been
don't care.
an absolute pleasure. You guys might remember a couple weeks ago on PulseCon, we debuted a 3D printed and hand painted model for this. Now we have here today an actual very early production sample.
Okay.
These are our engineering pilot samples. They're a little bit janky. The deco and articulation isn't quite dialed in, so it's a little floppy. You might see some deco errors.
Product may vary.
Product may vary.
Okay, I'm quite.
Don't at me.
Quite cool.
So yeah, let's dig into some details about Zord Ascension project. So
I really
of
want to
course,
know about this.
the Megazord demorphs into 5 component Megazords.
Nice.
That was a must. That was a need to have. We had, like I said, we had a lot of fun making these. Each Zord has a little bit of articulation, things that can move on them in basic Zord form. Because one of the things that kind of frustrated me a little bit as a kid was how all of the typical classic Megazord toys are kind of blocks. They're really hard to get into really dynamic poses, which is great for kids assembling something very stable, but for adult collectors and people like us that grew up with the brand,
But still,
I think adding a little bit of articulation is like really key. We've even given stuff like the T-Rex an ab crunch, so we can do some sit-ups or a little bit of range out of those stubby arms.
You get a lot of
actually pretty
detail
cool to be
too,
fair.
don't you?
Yes. Thank you for noticing.
This is the first
I
time
mean,
I'm seeing them, so I
$200, I think
apologize
that's
to everybody
not
watching
bad
this that I just am
price,
playing
let's
with
just say that.
toys on camera.
It's a great
I'd
job.
say
It's a great
It's-
job.
It's not bad.
But
I can do
jumping back to the detail real quick, we had actually a lot of help with that. Making a Megazord, really making any toy
Okay,
requires a
suppose
whole
probably like
village
that,
or
I
a
would
whole
be
mini city
okay
of
with it.
people
I
helping
think that would
behind
be
the scenes.
quite
But I want to give a
interesting.
couple shout outs to some people that really helped bring this project
looks
to life.
really nice on it.
The overall aesthetic and design proportions were heavily worked on by 2 very talented artists that Hasbro works with as freelancers,
Chat's not
Ken
too
Christensen and
Normally, all over
Emiliano
the place.
Santa Lucia. They did a great job diving into the details with this thing. And together with me and our really talented designer, Locke, in Hong Kong, we had 4 designers working on making sure this thing looked awesome. So
did
that's
Alan
4
say?
designers focused
Alan
on
was-
the aesthetics and just overall detail level
Damn,
for this
now
sword.
everyone's,
On top of that,
gonna be
we had some
doing
help
this
on
and
engineering.
which I'm really
Well, big shout out to Rosalie in Rhode Island, and then our 2 engineers, Matthew and Henry in Hong Kong, to help make sure that this all works really nicely together.
I always love
because
like,
there's
these
a
sorts of
ton of
chats.
moving parts.
Like, so
Yeah, I didn't mean
please
to
make it
run all
because
over
it's
your
it's
shout
so
outs,
much my
but
favorite
these
thing.
are based
It
on
has
the
so much
early concept
potential,
art,
but
right?
it's mine.
Yeah, so
My
we
favorite.
looked at a lot of the Sentai reference books early on, and what was really striking about those is that you see these
I do
giant,
like
just
the look of it.
amazingly like designed and proportioned heavy robots
Right.
that are so inspiring, and you can see
It's
like back in those days they
there's the
used
line.
markers and pen and ink to illustrate the early concept art, and you can just see the mark of the artist, and seeing that level of surface detail get translated onto the TV screen is one thing, but seeing it translated into a product is another. And I think that
Not bad.
trying to bring the surface detail to life with all these little bits and boops was something that we really tried to do.
Yeah, they
Inspired by that.
definitely look like they're the most detailed. Of
God,
any
everyone
of
is
the swords I've ever
Screaming.
seen.
Like, these
Yeah,
are all
yeah,
pretty
we tried really hard. On top of that, we tried to add in a lot of itty bitty detail. So you'll remember these are 1 in 1/44 scale. In addition to the Megazord cockpit, which we showed at PulseCon, each Zord has its own individual itty bitty cockpit. So like flip open the head,
Right.
see a seated
Wow.
Ranger inside each one of these. So I like.
I can kind of get to it.
That's
think it's
actually
pretty
really cool.
Yeah, it's the horn
The
that
horn.
nerves us.
Found it.
Little Billy.
Yeah.
Bam! Little Billy.
That's really
Check that
awesome,
out.
to be fair.
I always thought that was one of the cooler
That's cool.
things about Power Rangers compared to say like Transformers, was that there were real people inside these piloting them and just duking it out with giant monsters.
That
that
is
great
really
mecha
fantastic.
Yes, close to my heart. There's a bunch of other really neat things that this can do. I don't know if I can just look, the T-Rex tail is removable, so when it's combined into Megazord mode, you can actually get some hip articulation, which is super cool.
The Dragon Sword? Can it move?
I did accidentally remove that head earlier.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
It does the shield thing. Super great.
Perfect.
But it also has these panels that are removable. So during Mammoth mode, the Megazord fists are covered up. But you can also take these pieces. You can set them aside, or you can actually use them as
okay with that one. So
heels for the combined Megazord form. So you can kind of snap them in like that.
So they make it easier to stand.
Yes.
Awesome.
And to kind of avoid having too many floating pieces around.
If it's diecast, it would be a lot more expensive.
Question. I see standing legs, but this could do tank mode too, right?
100%.
Okay.
Yes. This, of course, does tank mode.
What about those hands?
Oh, yeah. So, actually, thank you for handing me that nice segue. It does come with 2 open expressive hands. Something that's interesting about the hands is one of the details and motifs that we added in as a surface level detail is the Megazord M. So you see them, it's most iconic on these shoulder pads, right? This big M shape you see on the Mammoth and for Mammoth too. But we added them in a couple different locations. One of them is the hand. The back of the hands has this little M shape, and Zord also has it on the hilt.
On the whole sword, that's quite nice.
That's
really
very
nice
shiny, and I feel like,
Yes, super cool.
Yeah.
Let us know what other Zords or Megazords you'd like to see in the Zord Ascension project.
Yeah, it has to be said that way.
Yes.
They need to
because
do their sound properly.
One of the cool things about this is that it's the Zord Ascension project, not just the Megazord Ascension project. So I think that quite expands our scope for what we can do with this. Yes.
It's a project, right? And so we want to keep it going and build the project.
Yeah. Build the archive.
Oh, the archive, you say?
Yeah.
I do think that it doesn't feel like a fan-first
right
project.
now.
Yeah.
Dragon Zord.
So we wanted to make sure the Zord Ascension project was more than just the product. We wanted to really build a world around it.
Yeah, it's almost like it ascends the project of the Zord we're focusing on.
Is that why you named it that?
No, I named it that because it sounds cool.
Cyclopses would be a fantastic
Zap.
Zap. And it's you get zap out of it too. Which
it's got a really nice
I think I saw some people asking online. It was intentional.
Yeah, it definitely is. Everything we've
about
done here is very intentional.
Yeah.
We put a lot of thought into how the Zord Ascension project would work. Right? What is a Zord Ascension project? Well, in our mind, the Zord Ascension project is a hardlight archive that holds all information about every single Zord that has ever been created, is active currently, or could be created. So,
yeah, I mean, as the writer on the brand, storytelling is a huge and important part of what I do. And we felt like when Jarrett and I started on this, we really felt that something like this needed a story behind it, because story is so important. And we have almost 30 years of story on Power Rangers, and we really wanted to pay homage to that a little bit. And so, we wanted to do that without tying ourselves down to only what exists. And so we've really given not just our toy designers freedom to go out and come up with some cool big robots, but also whatever happens in the future, whether that's
just the
TV shows, movies, comic books, video games. There's room for all of that.
Yeah, and you'll actually see that in the numbering sequences that we've created for Zord Ascension Project. We wanted to keep away from the traditional sort of number 1, number 2, number 3. So we built a numbering sequence that is actually based on the first canonical appearance of whatever Zord it is. So this is MZ0101 because it shows up in the first episode, first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yep.
It's really cool.
Wait a second, wasn't there a variant of this? How did we solve for that?
we added a .2.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Clever.
And that works for any variants going forward. Gives us a lot of leeway to do repaints and repackages and cool, what do you call them? Variants. That's
cool things.
Cool things.
And it also lets us build a whole collection if we want to. There are people who care about collecting stuff, having those numbers displayed, showing them in order, and you know, we wanted to make sure those fans get what they want to.
Yeah, we did a lot to get really deep into the lore. We even found a Z that existed in the show originally. If you look at the Dragon Zord's knee pads, he's got that Z on his knee. There was no real story in Power Rangers lore for that, so we kind of co-opted it and used it as our logo for Zap. Now it has a reason to exist.
Yeah, and what was really great about this is that Jarrett and I worked so closely together so there's a reason for everything to exist. Yeah. That the story and the visuals talk to each other and build a cohesive thing. And I think the end product of that, not just the package, which is awesome, but also like what we plan to do in the future digitally is really cool. Yeah, so for the packaging, what we did was we actually tried to recreate what you would find in the Hardlight archive. You actually are presented with this really wonderful headshot of whatever Zord it is.
I like the packaging.
The first one was done by Tracy Chang, and it is fantastic. And when you open up the box, you're brought inside and presented with the cockpit.
I like that. That's actually really nice.
And there's all these layers of unboxing that you go through there. But once you're done unboxing and playing with the figure, we're working with a bunch of teams here at Hasbro to create a actual really nice sort of version of the Hardlight archive. We're bringing it to the web.
On the other side.
The World Wide Web?
The World Wide Web.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. And this web page that we're building will actually be a repository of all sorts of information about the Zords, the Megazords, their battles, give you a bunch of downloadable content and some other stuff that we're working really hard on. Yeah.
I mean, we don't want to give too much of it away because we're still kind of deciding what cool stuff we want to put there. But yeah, the plan is to really have this like be an experience beyond your normal kind of toy collector experience. Not that there's anything wrong with your normal toy collector experience, but we're Power Rangers and this is Zord Ascension project. Yeah. We wanted to kill it. So that's kind of a dive into the story.
Yeah, it's pretty much a dive into the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you want to see what the packaging kind of looks like? Is it work in progress?
Boy, howdy do I.
Cool.
We've already seen the packaging.
All right, so just so everybody knows, these are super early. We call them pilots. These are test prints that we do to make sure everything looks right. So some of the graphics aren't finished, some of the graphics aren't right.
So like pilots of TV shows.
Yeah, exact. But we really want to show it to you because there's some really cool stuff going on here. So
maybe it's just the audio.
Without further ado, this is what the outside of the box looks like. You can see there's a whole bunch of premium execution on here. We did.
What do they call this part that sticks out?
That is called an emboss.
It is embossed.
So we did a whole bunch of really cool embossing. We did a bunch of what they call sculptural emboss, which gives different layers to different bits of the embossing.
So I think the packaging that they showed
tons of spot glosses, tons of textures, things that make this look really, really, really premium. And can't forget the super dope illustration.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So this is just a real quick treat. We don't want to give everything away because.
But yeah, that box is really nice.
It's part of the fun.
Yeah, and there's a lot in there to discover, I think, because we wanted to make it a cool experience because we like cool experiences when we unbox the cool toys we bring home. So we wanted to give that to the fans.
Yeah, we're just scratching the surface with this little preview. We've got tons more to show you.
That's really involved everything from the Hardlight archive story to the amazing sculptural elements, the package, and how it all ties into bringing into focus the awesomeness of Megazords. Like, we don't normally do that, do we?
No, but we should. Anyway, did John tell you how we can get one of these immediately?
They're not just giving them to us?
No.
Oh,
you have to pre-order.
Oh yeah, that's right. So they're available for pre-order today, December 10th.
December 10th.
December 10th at HasbroPulse.com or your favorite collectible retailer.
Boom!
Joe?
Introduce the Boom Comics panel.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
forgot about that.
I
Yep. So now we're going to throw it to Irv,
which is
and
nice.
he's going to talk to
Just
our
hope it's
team
not like
of
in
comics.
a month.
Cool. So that's a wrap. And just finish out, we have to say it.
Say what?
Say what?
May the power protect you.
Okay. Cool.
All.
You.
No.
Forever.
Okay, and that's it.
Thank you, Sam. Whoa, that
I love the fact that-
Zord Ascension project,
They've not even
it
said
looks
anything. Okay, what
legit.
we got?
I love
It's
it.
a
I
giant
love the
big
detail that you
bobblehead
have in the
of Red
packaging.
Ranger.
I cannot wait to get my
Big
hands on
Ranger
it
helmet,
and start
again.
combining the Zords.
Some
Well
sort of
done
an
to the whole
alpha,
team.
thing.
That's pretty amazing, I must say. Anyway, hello Ranger Nation. I am Irvin, and I lead the Power Rangers franchise here at Hasbro. But you won't hear me
Sounds so much
babbling
better.
all day today because I have some friends with me. We are here today to talk comic books. There we are. All right, first
I'm on board.
we have Daphna. Daphna Plevan, welcome to the panel today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Daphna, do you want to tell our fans what do you do at Boom Studios?
Yeah. So my name's Daphna. I'm a senior editor at Boom Studios. I have been working on the Power Ranger books since the beginning, since issue 0.
Nice to actually see,
And I have been
it's not that many books, I just think it's
completely
just
absorbing
Ryan.
all the fun canon and the canon that Boom has had the liberty to make. And I've been definitely excited as both a reader and a fan to see what has been developing. Of course, I have a front row seat and maybe a cattle
damn it,
prod
straight
because I
away.
get to like ask the writers some very leading questions. So what are you going to do with Billy next?
I love it. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate, the fascinating stories that you guys
cool if you had
write,
some, like, random
and all
stuff
the
in the
lore that you're
background,
building
like,
for our
isn't
brand.
all
So,
cut out.
Daphna, thank you so much. I really appreciate all the great work that you guys are doing and the fans are loving as well. Next, we have Ryan Parrott. Ryan, I think you're a veteran of FanFest Fridays now. I think I'm going to set a desk for you here at Hasbro. So thanks again for joining us for another FanFest Friday.
Oh, my pleasure, man. If you can set up a desk, as long as it's littered with lots of toys, I will totally work there. That'll be the best. That's kind of the way I work now. So yeah, that'd be amazing.
Message received.
Everyone's like, woke as hell.
And
How
last
do they
but
look
not
woke as
least,
hell?
I am very, very excited to introduce you all to Nicole, Nicole Edelfinger, who's our latest additions to our Power Rangers family. Hey, Nicole.
Hey, so happy to be here. It's been an extremely exciting. I mean, I think when Daphna asked if I wanted to join the Ranger family, I was screaming out on my
Yes.
porch. So I'm really excited to be here. And I mean, thanks so much for having me, and also thanks for the super cool hat. I mean, it just makes me feel like
Thanks
I'm
for
even more
wearing
part
it.
of the family.
I appreciate it. Well, when I heard you guys were joining us and you had confirmed you will be here with us today, I was like, well, I need to send these guys some new era cups that are launching this
really
week. It's
know
the same
what to
week,
talk
so
about. There's not a
thanks
lot.
for wearing it. I'm
Really don't
loving
know
it.
what to talk about.
All right. Well, without further ado, I guess we can start. Daphna, Ryan, what do you say? Should we start with our ongoing runs? So Mighty Morphing and Power Rangers.
Okay, 2 comic books. Which,
Yeah.
Is everyone
Perfect.
reading them? Let me know.
Let's
in the
do
chat
it. Look
if
at that
you're reading
art.
them.
I'm loving it. Wow, sweet.
Not-
Ryan, I'm
not
gonna give
a
it to
fan
you.
of the
Like,
Altarian
let's
War.
dive into the Altarian War. Look at that.
Yeah,
Not what
that's
I
up
wanted to do
the last year and a half of my life, sort of. Yeah. So yeah, just sort of catch people up if you don't know what's going on. So over the last year, we had a run called the Unlimited Power Run, which was following sort of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Omega Rangers. And the idea was to sort of create what we thought would be 2 stories, right? In Mighty Morphin, we were following the Power Rangers that we know, the Tommy-led team with the Stone Canyon Trio, as they were sort of dealing with a brand new Green Ranger and sort of digging into sort of Zordon's past on Eltar. And at the same time, we were following the Omega Rangers as they were dealing with sort of like a new threat and a mystery with something called the Imperials. And what we wanted to do over that year was to build up to the idea that you were following 2 different storylines, but they were actually one storyline. storyline. So right around the end of that, we discovered that the Altarians have actually sort of been corrupted and become sort of an empire and sort of flipped away from what they originally were intended to be, and are actually using the Imperials. So that if we were looking at this as like one giant movie, it was basically sort of like Act 1 and Act 2. And now that we're in the Altarian War, that's sort of Act 3 of the movie. And it's just crazy action. And now all the cards are on the table. And so we've been, and I think I blew everything up in the last issue. And when I say everything, I think I blew everything up, which Daphne always loves that I do, which is great. It's like, hey, is that something people like? Let's get rid of that. And now, and basically we're at sort of the low point. And in order for the Rangers to sort of pull it out, they're going to have to look in the mirror and make some hard choices. And as you're looking on the screen right now, you can probably see what we're about to see. The biggest one is sort of watch Zordon's transformation. And for the first time, Zordon is sort of out there in the fight with the Power Rangers, which was the actually intention of this run, was to actually get him out there and fighting with them. And you can also see that, we have to make some back alley deals with, Finster working along, the minions working along with the Power Rangers. And yeah, I mean, it's just sort of like right at the, that was the whole point. It was like, how can you, what's something we just want to see that we've never seen before, and let's see if we can make it as crazy as possible.
No, it's super cool. And talking about setting it up, I really like how you set up the relationships between Zordon, Zardos, and Zofram, which I find fascinating. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that, and how it came to be, and how did you want to evolve it?
Yeah, I mean, when we first sat down, when Daphne and I first sat down and started figuring out what we wanted this story to be about, I think the first thing we said was like, let's get into Zordon. We've talked a lot about the Rangers, but like, we've never really, I mean, I don't even think we've actually ever been to Eltar until the comic books. So that was really fun. And so the idea was to sort of, really dig into his past, but you can't dig into his past unless it has something to do with the present. So which is where the Altarian War came from. So the idea, and also they're called Zofram, Zordon, and Zardis. So I'm the 3 Z's. I'm going to mess it up about 10 times. I'll do my best. So the idea was, when we pitched it, I was like, I want to tell sort of a Shakespearean story. And so I basically did Othello. Like I was like thinking of it as this idea of sort of like, Zofram and Zardis were these 2 close friends, warriors, battle, brothers in arms. And then this young upstart Zordon steps in. And when he does, it sort of shakes that relationship. And Zofram sees something in Zordon, like a part of himself, and the jealousy that builds up as artist sort of breaks the whole thing apart. I mean, that was one of the things we talked about, which would be so fun, was let's see Zordon. This actually came out of a design. I'm breaking free here, but like this came out of a design when we were looking at that design right there. Dan drew Zordon younger than I think I expected. And I was like, oh, he's the same age as the Power Rangers. I've never seen that. Let's do that. And that's when the whole thing, because I think in their original intention, he was actually sort of already in charge. And then when we saw the drawing, it flipped everything and it made it a much more interesting dynamic. So yeah, it was, and I think the fun about it is just sort of seeing him before he was this wise, all-knowing character, and sort of seeing him make them some of the similar mistakes. And also like the fun of anything is like create 3 friends and then see how, if they had stayed friends, everything would have been great. But when they become, your friends can become your worst enemies.
It was a really cool process. At the beginning, Zordon was sort of leading to, he was a leader in the past as he is in the present. And when that design came in, I had forced Ryan to write all of the flashbacks as one story. The flashbacks that have been opening each of our issues of Mighty Morphin, in part because I got addicted to that structure when Ryan was writing Go-Go Power Rangers. I loved how it let us step outside of the immediate narrative and go deeper into these characters, because so much of Power Rangers is in the moment, in the fight. And I kind of was greedy. It's like, can we do this in Mighty Morphin, please? And so Ryan, I forced poor Ryan to write the whole story so we could get it approved by Hasbro, because we had some other big asks, like maybe who Zofram is. It's not a spoiler anymore, it's Zed. Through the course of writing that, when those designs came in, Ryan's like, Daphne, I know I hate it when you give me notes and you make me rewrite, but I want to rewrite. And I was like, yes, Ryan, absolutely. And the story, I think, is so much stronger for it, in part because exactly what Ryan's talking about. It gave us this into Zordon, that's so simple when you think about it. Who was Zordon at the Power Rangers age? When was he kind of Mighty Morphin teen? And that really helped clarify the storyline that Ryan had also been building in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers with Billy and the Green Ranger, because it brought Billy and Zordon into a really interesting emotional conflict that couldn't be solved by punching.
I will agree with you definitely, because I think what our fans love so much about these comics is how deep we dive into the characters, right? We understand the why, the how, the who, what motivates them, what motivates their relationship, how do their relationships evolve. And, that's what I personally appreciate so much with the comic books that you guys write. I love seeing you guys working together, bounce ideas off of each other. Our discussions, of course, Daphne, are always so cool, but, I really appreciate it. And actually, we saw the image. Speaking of relationships, do you want to talk a little bit about how did you want to evolve Billy's and Zordon's relationship? Because that was left a bit in a standstill. So, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Because Billy goes into
with Billy, we talked about this from the beginning. Like, it was like, this is their themes we wanted to mirror the themes together, which is sort of a crisis of faith. When Billy, in the earlier books we were doing, Billy has all the faith and respect in the world for Zordon, but Zordon was like, no, you can't recharge the green dragon coin. Like, that's not something he wanted. That's something he would approve of. And the idea is Billy disagreed with him. And so he did it behind his back. And when he did that, it worked. And ultimately, when Zordon found out about that, he felt betrayed by it and sort of broke their relationship almost to the point to where Zordon was willing to kick him off the team. But what we liked about that was we knew that with the Eltarian War, we wanted to have Zordon go through the exact same experience with Eltar. Like, he has all the faith and respect in the world for Eltar. It's literally, he goes by Zordon of Eltar. Like, that is his identity. And so what would happen when he found out that the thing that he had all this faith and sort of trust in fell apart? And he started to question their things as well. And so he finds himself in the exact same spot as Billy. And ultimately to the point to where he ends up having to battle against his own people and sacrifice himself. There was a really fun line that we came up with early on, which was when he finally confronts Zardis and finds out when they finally tell each other when they stop manipulating each other, and Zardis just tells them what they're doing. And Zordon, he goes, I want you to be Zordon of Eltar again. And I just love the idea that Zordon says, I'm Zordon of Earth. And at that moment, he's sort of he's drawing a line in the sand, and Zardis destroys the containment chamber, and he literally thinks he's dying for Earth, which I thought was really cool. So when we actually see him again, sort of lost in sort of wherever Zordon's head stuff goes, the idea that Billy has to be the one to come and save him and bring him out of that and pull him out of that, which is what you're looking at right here. The idea that Billy is the one who comes to save him after Zordon sort of turned his back on him for the betrayal just felt like, it was like it's one of those things where like you kind of design it and then slowly the two kind of come together, and like the story just seemed to work really well. That there's a moment later on in this issue where Zordon and Billy get to talk, and I was really fun because I got to talk. Like, I think Billy. There's a line earlier on in the books where Zordon says, Aisha says, Billy, you're literally the only contemporary Zordon has on this planet. Like, it's the only person that is an equal. And the idea that they sort of see that for the first time is something we've always wanted to talk about and show. They just fit together really well, those two characters.
For sure. And it's like, it's the first time we're seeing Zordon, kind of like fight, which, I find it really cool because, he was always this like character in the background, kind of supporting, but now, he's in the deep end and he's kind of like in the action. How did you approach that?
I was super aggro and like, we got to give Zordon legs so we could take him away. And my dark, mean heart is, Eltar shows up and gives him a body. And then like, he has to choose between Eltar and Earth, and Eltar takes the suit away. And Ryan had the way better emotionally relevant pitch, which is, what if this is Billy's gift to Zordon? This is something that Billy has been working on, even in the midst of their fight, that even though Zordon and Billy at odds, and Zordon is much more strident in his anger and sense of betrayal with Billy, there's a part of Billy that still loves Zordon and still sees him as a parental figure and still cares. And so that the suit is an expression of that enduring care. I was like, I'm tearing up talking about it because I was like, okay, Ryan, you're right. That's the better story. And I think that Billy pulling Zordon out of the ether, bringing him back to himself, both figuratively and literally, is a really beautiful culmination of that. And then, the upside of that is we get a cool Zordon suit where he gets to kick butt. And he's got a lot of years of a pent up aggression. It's got to be frustrating to constantly be in the command center yelling at teens
so I was-
like
I was
turn
roughly
left,
here
turn
last
right,
time.
you
So I was
know.
roughly here.
And now he gets to take control of the wheel, so to speak. And as you can see in those opening pages, he's having a lot of fun. He's in a weird emotional space, you know. He loves Eltar, but he has to fight against
Okay, so
it.
it's everyone
But you know
doing it.
what? He's got
To be
legs.
fair, that looks really kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like
You know,
that.
a little column A, little column B. Could be worse. It will get worse because that's storytelling.
Every time.
But I think
Hey,
Ryan
You
really
put him,
sort
you
of
put
took
him
the
through so
challenge.
many things for Zordon for sure.
Well, that's been kind of the fun of it all, right? Like having to get into write all these different, like we're starting with Go-Go and then working in SR Evil and now doing the Tarian War. It's like we've seen so many. I've gotten to write so many different versions of Zordon, which is really fun. And like sometimes he's the wise, you know, dad who's helpful and you love him for being, you know, both sweet and sort of understanding. And then there's times where he's the authoritarian who is frustrated because he can't be out there by himself. And then we get to write and then write this sort of young upstart Zordon who doesn't understand what's going on. And so I mean that's what's been so crazy is being able to sort of take him and slowly sort of drop him out. Like you said, like this is weird. I remember this when this design came in, the young sage Zordon, this art that Eleonora did, it's sort of from this moment it informed the entire design of Eltar and everything that we wanted to do and what that world looked like that Dan sort of took and ran with in Mighty Morphin, and it's fun.
You know, speaking about building characters, as you just said, Ryan, and you know, talking about Dan Mora's awesome art, let's talk about how the process about creating the characters and the designs. What I like to call the Eltarian Four, because that's how we used to call them. So we can look at those designs. Daphna, maybe you want to talk to us a little bit about how we worked around this, what you wanted to put into those characters, how much you hated me with my feedback and stuff. That's I think fans would love to hear a bit about that.
Honestly, it was such a fun experience. So like what I love to do is like poke Ryan until character descriptions fall out and we send them off to Dan while Ryan works. And what's cool about Dan working on the designs while Ryan writes is that it then sometimes informs the story as well. And so we saw that with Zordon, and it happened with the Eltarian 4. And then the benefit of us getting these designs in with Hasbro early is that, Irvin, you and me got to collaborate on this. You had great feedback that when we're kind of in the midst of production, I'm working on Mighty Morphin, Power Rangers, Eltarian War, Universe. Sometimes there is a beat in which you're like, wait a second, what is the bigger picture here? Which was the perspective that you brought, which is they're an Eltarian super team. Shouldn't they have a unifying palette element that both connects them to each other but elevates them above the other Eltarian forces? And I think that really cracked the code for us. As you can see, between each of the iterations, it went from something that looked like Raiders. They look like something that would be working for Dark Spectre, not Eltar. And then when we get to the end, we see they're more fearsome because they look united. And then those unique details like the cape and the knife then makes it seem like they're the most fearsome of their class. Why is this dude allowed a sword? Because he can mess you up with a sword. And then the other key thing that Hasbro asked us was, hey, who's in the suit? Be curious to see who's in the suit. And that kind of cracked wouldn't it be a little eerie that there is someone that looks like a child as a kind of dark contrast to the fact that the Rangers are teens? But it's not that dark. It was just like a cool way of playing with expectations, especially since that suit looks pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and just hearing you speak about this team, you're giving me like goosebumps. Because like you guys nailed it on like how they look like pros. And I loved how you evolved it from, the second iteration to the third one where, you're just talking about that mecha and the little girl in it. But basically, you took some really nice creative cues from Alpha 5, and you can see that, yes, this is technology from Eltar, right? So why not make him look more similar to that nice, sidekick robot we all love? So well done. Like, you guys smashed it. If there's anything else you want to share with our fans out there, I guess we can move into Power Rangers universe and have Nicole come join us as well.
There we go, Nicole. She's like,
I love how Ryan is like, okay, I want to hear all about this because I don't know so much about this. So, great. Well, I guess Nicole, this is the first time we have you on the panel. As I said, welcome to the Power Rangers family. Do you want to talk a little bit about yourself? How you became a comic book writer. How you eventually ended up writing the next big chapter for Power Rangers.
Yeah, sure. It's always funny. I always tell people that how I got into comics is always a little kind of one of those typical California stories of being in the right place at the right time. I used to work at a comic store and took over for a friend who was leaving at the time. That friend's sibling ended up being an editor at Boom. And at one point, they were like, we need a pinch hitter. Can you turn something around in a day? And me, being super green, was like, well, of course, because you don't say no when that question comes your way. And that's I'd been writing before then, but never had the opportunity to be published. So of course that quick turnaround led to another, to another, to another. And of course I've worked with Daphne before. I've worked with a lot of people at Boom, and they're all wonderful. So of course I was super honored when Daphne was like, well, I actually have this project. Are you interested?
What made me think of Nicole is this is a unique book in that we're telling a point of Ranger history that hasn't been explored but must have existed. And when you're introducing new characters, you want them to feel real and connected, and that they have shared history, even as you are coming into a moment in their lives where everything changes. And we really use kind of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as the template in which, when we come into the story of the teens that Zordon chooses to become the first Power Ranger team that was aired, they were friends before. They knew each other before. They aren't strangers who are discovering their powers in each other in the process. They were already kind of a unit of friends and people who cared for each other.
Without giving too much away, and Daphne, stop me if my lips get too loose. But I think you kind of like touched on it. Basically, that universe is an origin story for so many things, for so many different things, including a new team. But maybe we can show that concept first with having that team here. And yeah, maybe Nicole, you and Daphne, you guys want to talk a little bit about the characters that we have here on screen and how they came about. I love the great diversity we have here. This is such a great team. So many different backgrounds from what I've seen. I'm not going to talk about too much, but yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about this team?
That is one of the really exciting things about this book. As Daphne said, it's getting to explore a group of friends who have a history of being a group of friends, and they have a lot that has gone on before here that has just built these bonds between them. And I think it's kind of safe to say that when we open the book, we're right at the cusp of, we've been friends for a very long time, but life is just about to start changing. And then something, of course, happens where everything's tested. And that's been super exciting. But each of these characters has been so fun to explore, to get to build, to explore their personalities. I'm not quite sure what exactly I'm allowed to give away, Daphne.
Not much. Not much.
I can give a little bit of context for what everyone was looking at. Our teens are Morphin Master teens. Their parents are studying the grid. As we have set up kind of in our story already, the Morphin Masters at a certain point, which Ryan hinted at in Necessary Evil, ascended into the grid. But that means they were in our universe before that, and we were exploring that moment from when they left our universe and ascended into the grid, and why, and what were they protecting or running from. And the kind of other key thing that's really apparent here is there's a character that doesn't look like a teen. In fact, the Morphinaut looks very familiar. We really wanted to tackle the challenge. We know that the Phantom Ranger is a very important character in the fandom.
I'm very curious how you go about it, because he's a very cryptic character, right? So how do you tell the origin story of such a cryptic character? We've never seen his face. We don't know who it is. We've read all these crazy theories that fans love to write, love to talk about. how do you approach something like that when, we're talking about, the Phantom Ranger and his origin and all that?
We wanted to make sure that we respected the Phantom Ranger's place in the mythos. He is a very important character. He shows up in times of great need. He doesn't say a lot of words. He gets the job done. It is something we really loved exploring. Was it this year? Man, time is a flat circle with the Phantom Ranger answering Zordon's call and trying to save Fiona, who was Rita's mother. We got a little understanding that he must have had some interaction with Dark Spectre and what Dark Spectre was going for in the past. And Universe became an opportunity for us to explore that deeper, especially since the Morphin Masters have become more and more important as our story has progressed. And we felt like this was a great opportunity to root the Phantom Ranger in sort of the moment the Morphin Grid became something more than a theory.
I can hear you talk about Power Rangers for hours and hours. So I guess let's dive into it, right? Let's look at that great art that the team has worked on, and we'd love to really kind of hear your thoughts as we move from one page to the other.
I'm not a big fan of the Phantom Ranger.
So as you can see, Simone Ragazzoni is an artist that I got to work with since Draken, New Dawn, and Unlimiteds, and I love his eye. I love his approach. He's so good with character work. And I knew I needed to get him on board. And Mattia is joining us for colors, and he's just imbuing the world with so much color while really you know where to look with your eye. And so we're starting our story with that kind of important moment of when the Morphonauts theory that the grid isn't just an idea, it's a place. He's going to try and prove it. He's a little impatient. Maybe he should take a beat to examine that. But if he was a bit more patient, we wouldn't have a story. So I think the next set is the kind of big splash page that shows what happens when he steps through and who he maybe
guess who that
accidentally meets.
Character is in the middle.
Looks like he made a mistake, buddy. He's not going to regret this at all. He's going to be very comfortable with his choices by the end of this, I'm sure.
And well done on the light, like the prism, like the white light with the prism and all the colors behind it. I think that's pretty cool.
I do like that.
I love it.
I mean, I did my best to pace it, but every time I feel like I turn in a script, Simone just comes out with killer layout, and it's just like, oh, it looks even better than I imagined it. So this is one of those pages.
It's pretty awesome. I think we have one last one, right?
That's good.
Now we get to meet sort of where we spend most of our story is Ori, as Nicole calls them. Actually, Nicole, why don't you kind of give us a brief introduction to poor, lonely Ori?
Sure, of course. Ori is one of our heroes of the story. They're a little bit more tech-minded, a little bit more scientific.
Cool.
They come from a family that has extensively studied the grid and is heavily involved in Morphin Master technology and grid tech. And they always kind of are having to live up to that family shadow. And
I'm quite pumped for this.
They're also one of those brilliant people that also perhaps maybe doesn't necessarily always feel like they fit in. And they have a little bit of trouble sometimes connecting with their friends or just overthink. For as brilliant as they are, they also tend to maybe overthink things a little bit about assumptions that other people have with them. So it's always nice. I love this opening sequence with them, especially because it's very telling that they're surrounded by tech and machines and pictures, but none of them are necessarily alive except for them. So it kind of tells you a little bit about Ori and their state of mind going into the story. And it's just, I love this opening for them.
Great.
really
And
kind of happy
again,
about this. Like,
I can
feel
talk
like this is a
hours
story
about it.
I could
I
really
think I'm
get
going to give
behind.
too much away with like all the Easter eggs that exist in these images. I'm loving this. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop myself. But again, I would like to get Ryan back in and just thank everyone. Thank you so
Everyone,
much.
get Ryan in
Really
now.
appreciate it for
He's
you
just been
all
off.
joining. Hey, Ryan.
Sorry.
So they're all good. So again, thank you so much. Yes, to the fans out there, you know, you're gonna love this. You're gonna have so much fun. There's so many stories here, so many origin stories, so many action. So again, thank you very much. And yes, don't forget Mighty Morphin 14, Power Rangers 14, and Power Rangers Universe coming out in December. Cannot wait.
Thank you for having us.
Should be soon.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited, and it's gonna be a good December. What can I say?
Boom!
Oh, was that it? I don't thought we were going to get something else. Okay, that's not too bad. I know we're going to get kind of like stuck on that one because of the audio. So that was not bad actually. I was more kind of invested in the other one. So let's go back to Big Cam. So yeah, I'm kind of more invested in it. Okay, everything's gone now. Back to the other one. Really? Can we get the chat? Oh, okay. So basically, everyone was extremely happy. So we've got the Zord Ascension. I think.
Get your 120 page.
No, we don't want that. Need to turn the audio out. So I think in Hasbro Pulse at the moment it's $135, $165. So UK is going to be 165 quid. So I'm not really that bothered on that one. So I think I'll be picking that one up when I can. Yeah, I'm just seeing is it come out yet? Let's just have a quick check. I'm not gonna. If we've got it in the Hasbro Pulse, let's have a look. So I think it's 6 o'clock. We get it over here, which is fine. Let's have a look. All Power Rangers. So the Zord Ascension project hasn't been kind of listed. We've still got it. But to be fair, I think I'm going to pre-order it kind of straight away. Just checking the new so we can see if anything's out listed over there. But so far the comic books are fine. Like I'm more looking forward to Power Rangers Universe, I think. Well, that's very slow on that one. So I'm kind of looking forward to Power Rangers then. What we're going to get. The Zord, I think, is going to be the most one. Like I'm hoping that we're going to get them maybe in order. So it goes from Mighty Morphing, then to Dragon Zord, to then Titanus, and then to Ninja, to then, you know, Shogun, then to Tor the Shuttle Zord. The Shogun Zord, completely forgot about that. Oh, no, new arrivals. Have we got that? Nope. It is just literally all the stuff. So 6 o'clock, which is roughly, or 5 o'clock, we're going to be getting it. If anyone else knows when, let me know down below in the chat. Also, is it kind of freezing? Because like everything is going really kind of slow at the moment, and it shouldn't be. So yeah, that's it really. There's not really much to talk about. The comic books I'm kind of looking forward to. So I'm kind of looking forward to that a bit more. Yeah, like it's slowing down this end, so I have no idea. Hopefully it's still good for you guys and you can still see everything. I'm trying to figure out where the other chat is gone. It's definitely not there. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a proper video on this rather than just kind of like give my thoughts at the very end. Yeah, it's like even in the chat, like it's dead slow. So I think that's it. So yeah, I'm going to talk about what I kind of think about it, how I think it's going to be a good thing, and what I think is going to be good and bad type stuff. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't, again, I wasn't much of a fan of some of the other stuff, but hopefully we'll talk about it then. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like this sort of content and you want to see more, hit the like button, hit subscribe, as well as that cheeky notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.